I was wrong. On March 9th of 2024, I said some things that I thought were okay at the time, but I realized I was wrong. And I'm big enough to admit that I was wrong about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That's right, I said it might become the new yearly channel anniversary video now that Avengers is dead. But Rocksteady decided to announce the Season 2 release date to be 3 days after I planned for this video to come out. So I pivoted to a video about Dreams, and about 2 hours before that video released, they delayed the season. So happy 3-year channel anniversary, a month, almost 2 months late. But we'll just roll with it because we might already be in the end of days with Suicide Squad. So while we still have the chance, I need to talk about how things have gone since the launch of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So since the last time I spoke about Suicide Squad, there have been 3 major content updates. The 3 updates are Season 1, Episodes 1 and 2, and the recently released Season 2, Episode 1. Episode 1 of Season 1, titled Fear, brought us the season's main attraction, the new playable character, the Joker, along with new gear sets, the Scarecrow Infamy set, the Dr. Poison Notorious, and the Mad Hatter Notorious, new shop items, new incursions, strongholds, and Elseworlds, plus a new Brainiac fight, number 2 of 13, the Green Lantern Brainiac fight. Season 1, Episode 2, titled Duality, brings new Green Lantern-infused enemies, more gear sets, which would be the Two-Face Infamy, the Black Manta Notorious, and the Reverse Flash Melee, along with Joker-themed adjustments to the map, and our next Brainiac fight, number 3 of 13, Superman Brainiac. And the most recent update, Season 2, Episode 1, Frozen Hearts. This one introduces another playable character, Mrs. Freeze, new gear sets, Killer Frost Infamy set, the Firefly Notorious, and the Parasite Melee set, along with a new Ice Metropolis, a new Battle Pass, and Brainiac Fight number 4, Superman and Flash Brainiac. Now, from the outside perspective, that may seem like a lot of stuff, but from the perspective of someone that's put more hours into Suicide Squad than there are variants of minions, have you ever Googled that? There's like way more minions than you would think there would be. 25 of them have names. Yeah, 25 of the thousands of minions have names. There's Bob, Carl, Darwin, Dave, Frank, and what was this video about? That's right, Suicide Squad. But we're going to come back to this minions thing at some point because I'm deep into this now. But it's not a lot of stuff for an update, like significantly less than you would think it is by reading that list. Think of it like when you order Chinese food and the portion size is always 3 times bigger than you thought it would be. But it's not really that uncommon that a first update to a live service game is lackluster. I lived through the early days of GTA Online. Their first update, the Beach Bum update, that added a broken beer bottle for a knife and a dune buggy. But that was also 2013. A lot of things have changed in the world of live service games. And also in Minions. They got roided out Minions now. Okay, that's the last of the Minions bit. Where I'm going with this is that Rocksteady had 1,000,001 failures to look at to help keep them from suffering the same fate, including other games WB themselves have published. They released Multiverses and then pretended it was an early access beta and pulled the game for like a year to fix it before they re-released it. But instead of trying that again, Suicide Squad followed in the footsteps of every other live service game, but they sprinted those steps. For example, if we look at the Steam DB charts for Avengers, it has 221 people playing it right this second as I record this video. That's a 4-year-old live service game that reviewed very poorly and has since shut down its services. Suicide Squad is sitting at 144 right now as I'm recording this, 5 months after launch. 5 months after the launch of Avengers, it was sitting at least the 1,000 player range. Avengers is hated and dead and somehow still has more players than Suicide Squad. But let's get out of the boring stats and numbers and into the actual game so we can see just how many times Rocksteady shot themselves in the foot after these updates. Of course, minus my hopes for future updates, all my criticisms and praises from the first Suicide Squad video remain. And if you want to see that one, you can find that video in the description above or below the subscribe button you were just about to click on. But for the new stuff, we'll start with Season 1's biggest addition, the thing they've been hyping up since before the game even launched. The Joker. And they decided to introduce the Joker in a way that upon starting it, while by myself at 11 p.m., made me out loud say, "Fire!" Just like when Avengers signaled its death by swapping out its fully animated cutscenes for the new character reveals, the Joker's backstory is told to us through a 1 minute and 42 second motion comic. I'm getting flashbacks of Jane Foster, and I just can't do that again. What's worse than that is after you watch it, you don't get to play as the Joker. You have to grind out the new season to level 35 and defeat the next Brainiac to unlock the Joker, or just buy him for 10 real life dollars. That's the same price of a Jersey Mike's regular sized chicken Philly on rosemary parmesan. Which one of those is more worth $10 to you? But if you're going to go the free route like me, I hope you really, really like repetition, because this grind has a lot of it, especially if you do it the way I did. I played a few missions until I found one that takes about 2 minutes to complete, and then I ran it over and over and over again. To explain, each episode has an episode level, kind of like a battle pass or any other seasonal progression system, but this isn't the battle pass. That's a separate thing we'll get into later. It's a progress bar that only goes up by playing that episode's content. So far, the grind to level ratio is about 1 episode level per mission. So if we do that math, I did this one level about 35 times. I didn't put the amount of time it took me to do it here, because if I knew exactly how much of my life I wasted doing just this one mission, I'd get up and go immediately sacrifice myself to a minion ritual, because it's downright irresponsible to waste that much of my life on this game. I promise that's actually the end of the minions bit. But once you finally get to level 35, you still don't get Joker until you defeat the next Brainiac, the thing this entire live service model is based around, which is just a reskin of the Green Lantern boss fight from the main game, which is just like how the ending of the main game was just a reskin of the Flash fight, and like how the next Brainiac is a reskin of the Superman fight, and how the third Brainiac is just a reskin of the Superman and the Flash fight at the same time. And once again, but at least we have a new character to play as. Right? This was my real draw to come back for season 1, just like how new Avengers characters brought me back over and over again. The problem is, the characters all play mostly the same. They get to shoot 3 of the same gun types with a slow single hit melee attack. I talked about this last time. All the combat is generally the same because it's just shooting guns. It's the traversal that changes, and they've done a good job up to this point at keeping them all varied and fun, with the exception of King Shark. His jumps look cool, but it's about as useful as a snake's socks. Which is also how I feel about the Joker's traversal. It sucks. It's awful. It's just plain unenjoyable. He uses an umbrella that you glide with Mary Poppins style, or you can speed up and ride it like a skateboard in the air. And it also has this exploding boost thing. I don't know what you call that. It's on the screen right now. You can see it. It's an exploding boost thing. I have too many adjectives coming to mind to describe what I don't like about it. It feels clumsy and rigid, but in a bad way. It's too fast and too slow depending on which version of the traversal you're using. It just feels difficult to navigate. I even tried to use the Joker for some Riddler races, and he just doesn't go where you want him to. The speed glide always runs out exactly fast enough to be an inconvenience. But outside of all that, he's an average Suicide Squad character because they're all kind of the same, minus the traversal. But what can you do with the Joker? Well, the Superman Brainiac fight, the Green Lantern Brainiac fight, and also grind the same missions you just did to unlock him. Sure, you can play the story again, which I praised the game for in my last video, but he doesn't show up in any of the cutscenes. He does show up in some death animations, but if you're not dying a lot, that doesn't really show you much, and the coolness of that also kind of wears off after a while. So there isn't like a whole lot of value in that. Unless you really liked the story and you want to play through it again with the most inconvenient form of movement. And if you do want to do that, how many times can you really do that before you get bored of it? So your options are the story maybe 2-3 more times tops, or play through everything you just did grinding out to get the Joker again, just to unlock some loot that probably isn't any better than the loot you have from the main game's endgame. I guess you could consider leveling up Joker to the max level, a carrot on a stick, but all the new characters start at level 10, so there isn't a lot of carrot on that stick. It's like a baby carrot. And that's where I ended season 1 at. Bored of the grind, and my hope machine was running on fumes. I didn't think we'd even see season 2 because it's clear that WB is ready to move on from this game. They even robbed the grave of the Batman Arkham games again by announcing a VR game because they continue to want the series to fail. And so there I was, ready to put out this video, put Suicide Squad back on the shelf till it slowly whimpered to its death. And then they delayed that video by announcing watching season 2, which they delayed, so I should have just put this video out anyways and saved myself the misery of having to play season 2 right now. But I stuck to my delaying decision because they won me back with the trailer for Mrs. Freeze's traversal. The ice bridge looked so fun, and the ice metropolis looked like the actual revamp that they've been talking about in this ever-changing metropolis. But I'll make this section of the video interactive for you. I'll give you a multiple choice Dora style. When I finally got to play as Mrs. Freeze, I thought it was... If you picked option C, you won exactly what I felt inside while playing as Mrs. Freeze. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, this gameplay was ass boring. Yeah, it looks cool, but that's really all it is. At its core, it's basically just a reskin of Deadshot's movement, but it does loops. You can float around till the bar runs out, going forward, left, right, and straight up, but instead of resetting the cooldown with his little jetpack thing, you just do a loop. It's not awful, of course. Deadshot is a character that most people actually liked from this game, but I've done that for 80 hours. I've gotten every single achievement in this disaster, so I've done a little bit of Deadshot flying in that time. But on the upside, to unlock this less than stellar character, they did lower the requirement from 35 to 25. But they also made 4 incursion missions a requirement, and I didn't realize that till I already hit level 25. So I had to do the extra 4 after that. If this game was a person, I would strangle it like Bart Simpson in the street. And the missions this time around are exactly the same as the ones before, but now they're in the snow. That's it, that's the difference. Sure, the location is laid out a little bit differently, but the objectives are the exact same as they were in Season 1 and the original game's endgame. It's just defeat all the enemies, or defend the thing, or defeat all the enemies to collect the little things to destroy the big thing. I really tried. I maxed out everyone's level. I hit episode rank 75 for Season 2 Episode 1. I cleared an entire battle pass. Yeah, I gave them more money for this game. Should've just got the sandwich. But since we're on the subject of battle passes already, I just want to rant on that for a second, so bear with me. These battle passes suck. The first one is full of these Wayne Tech suits, which are cool, but the battle pass never covers all of the characters. I understand them not having Mrs. Freeze in the first battle pass because she wasn't a character yet, but we've now had 2 battle passes release, and not one of them has a single thing other than an emote for Captain Boomerang. If you like Captain Boomerang and you bought a battle pass, you're just screwed. I mean, any character really doesn't get that much out of it. You only get 1 new suit and then some different variants and colors to that suit, but at least you do get something if your favorite character is Harley Quinn or Deadshot. But also, most of this stuff kinda sucks. And I know not everything is going to appeal to everyone, but at least put some variety in there to entice people to buy it. This is the thing you're selling, and you don't have the things people want in it. All of the Season 2 Battle Pass looks stupid. These are just ugly costumes. I only got this battle pass because I got enough free Luther coins from finishing the last one, but I don't feel like I need to earn any of it because it sucks. And while we're at it, let's just jump into the store too. There's nothing of value in there either. There's 2 or 3 okay costumes. They've done the nostalgia play by bringing the Arkham costumes forward, but that's really it. This is a game that's built to make them money, and they're not selling the things people want or giving them the gameplay they want to use the things if they did buy them. It's just misstep after misstep in the pursuit of money, and all it's done is lose money for them. And I just can't find any reason to keep playing. And if I wasn't making this video, I don't think I would have made it this far. I probably would have done the bare minimum to unlock Mrs. Freeze and kill Brainiac, and then ignored it till the end of the next season. Because I have to go back because they did kind of entice me at the end of this one. So I'm going to jump into spoilers like I did with the first video. So if you want to avoid those, go to this time code. So at the end of Season 2, Episode 1, you retrieve the Flash and find out that the Justice League you killed in the main game is not actually dead? Are they clones? Did you not kill them? You shot Batman in the head, so he should be very dead. So if he comes back, I've got a lot of questions. But also, this entirely defeats the purpose of the entire game. The game is called Kill the Justice League, and you don't do that. So here's the thing. I'm gonna get real with you for a second. I really want to like this game. I hoped for the many years we knew about it before launch that it was going to be the Avengers done right. I just don't understand. I'm the prime demographic for this game. I want to like it so bad. I'm finding every excuse I can for a reason to like it, and I've already squeezed out every last drop of enjoyment juice out of this orange. Now it's just kind of pulp.
You like it with pulp. Not this much. I like the one that says Shumpo.
I'm a DC kid. I sat through every misstep of the DCEU. I watched every episode of the Arrowverse. I played the Justice League heroes and the Young Justices. I've done it all, but none of them have broken my spirit the way that Suicide Squad has. And I'm sure Season 3 will pull me right back in just like Seasons 1 and 2 did, and I can guarantee that I'm leaving with the same disappointment I did with those. It's just making it kind of hard to be a DC fan these days. As always, just when I think I'm out, James Gunn reels me back in. But at the end of the day, Suicide Squad is always going to be Suicide Squad. It doesn't have the Avengers problem of a lack of content and constant update delays. It actually updates very frequently and consistently. They release developer notes constantly. They're working on this game at least weekly. The problem is the bones of the game. There isn't a way to revamp this game. Comparing it to what I loved about the Avengers updates, they would drop a new character and it most of the time came with a new playstyle, and it also came with new missions and locations, full storylines were added, and new completely original boss fights and raids. Suicide Squad is just built on repetition. All the characters at their core is going to be the same because it's just a guy shooting a gun. They can't introduce new locations because it's an open world game and everything must take place within Metropolis. And when they don't take place there, they just end up being the same small little destroyed Metropolis with themed decorations. All the boss fights are required to be Brainiac because that's the story they set up. I was really optimistic about the Brainiac story until I found out they were just going to reskin the boss fights over and over again. They're not even adding anything new to make it fresh. And we're never going to get a character that does the Arkham style free flow combat because that would fundamentally break this game. Suicide Squad is Suicide Squad, but I am committed to covering it to the end of its life, just like I did with the late great Avengers before it. My hope tank is on empty, and I know that the next 2 seasons will just be more of the same. I don't want that, but that's what it'll be, if they even release it all. So to leave it on that depressive note, leave a comment below that subscribe button that you forgot to click earlier. Oh no. False alarm. It's literally the exact same thing as every other update. There's no difference. I'm not going to explain to you again that it's just in the cold now and another Brainiac. So I'll see you next year for the update that's probably the last one on Suicide Squad. But while we wait for that, go ahead and tell me about what you think about the state of Suicide Squad. And while you're scrolling up from that comment, go ahead and hit that subscribe button that you forgot to hit earlier. I know we all forget, it's okay. But you need to do it so you know for next year to see exactly how much worse this game got. And go ahead and share the video with a friend if you want. That would be helpful to me. But only if they care just a little bit about Suicide Squad. Or they like making fun of it. Oh, and come hang out on Thursdays with me. I've been streaming recently every Thursday night. We're playing through the whole Tony Hawk series, and I don't know where we're going to go from there, but I'm really enjoying it, so come hang out. It's a good time. And if you really like doing the same thing over and over again, go play Suicide Squad.